Oh, good Wednesday morning to everyone, and welcome back to the Kaiser Report. I'm John. I'm here to talk to you today about a few things, and then head downtown Bristol, Tennessee, Virginia, to look at some things that are going on down there they're quite exciting for the city of Bristol as it grows and grows and grows. As you know, just a short time ago, we opened a casino here, and it's a Hard Rock casino, and it's doing very well. And downtown is beginning to show growth again, one more time, and there's some fabulous places to go down there for both eateries and shopping for antiques, clothing, and oh gee, just so much. But we'll get it on film to show you. It's local for us, so we're sun is out, and we can probably get down there and do a nice walking tour through the town and talk to you about each person or each place of business. And we're also going to take a look at the new billiard parlor that is opening up, 2 floors of billiard, which they will have I believe it's a national billiard tournament starting there on May 1st. So they're under construction still, but we're going to get in there and take a quick look before it all happens. With that said, we'll talk about the protests against the war in Gaza, as they say. I call it the pro-Palestinian, pro-Hamas, pro-Hezbollah riots that these kids are pulling at these universities. Now it's spread out to the USC, and University of Texas as well is involved in this. And there is no need for this to be happening. Anti-Semitism should not be the rule for them to go by at universities that take funding from this government and take funding from you, the parent, that's putting your children through these establishments, only to be indoctrinated with wrong historical events, which they're out protesting for something that they have no clue and no understanding of what it really means. But this is most of them today. You have these professors, these Saul Alinsky types in these schools indoctrinating children with wrong information and sending them in the streets. And I'll guarantee you that a great large percentage of the people that are in the streets marching for this right now at these universities have nothing to do with the university. And by the way, it has now been brought out that Hamas is promoting this. They have sent out to these schools letters telling them step by step how to do these anti-Israel marches that they're on, and to put tent cities up and keep Jewish students from going to school. And then the school turns around and says, well, they can work from home. What? These people need to be cleaned off these campuses right now, as fast as possible, and the ones that led this need to be expelled from those schools. Without a doubt. You need to send in the police department. You need to send in whatever it takes. National Guard. Push these people off the campus and tell them what they're doing is illegal. Don't have politicians go down there and scream First Amendment when they're doing damage to the school and causing fear and chaos among the students that are really there to learn. It was ridiculous. CNN is reporting today that the U.S. fertility rate has dropped to an all-time low in 2023. Well, what do you expect when you have taken the testosterone out of the male population and told them they can all have babies? Come on. It's in the foodstuffs that they're eating. Yes, the drive is dropped. And then, by the way, with this country headed to the direction that it's headed, why would you want to bring a child into this mess until it's cleaned up? You've got these gender proponents that are out there with a voice louder than anybody else's voice, and they're less than 1% of anybody's populations. Something went wrong drastically, and sometime in some fashion, this all explodes out of what? We've got to get back to basics. We've got to get back to what reality is, not some fantasy world where if you decide to be a furry, you can act like a dog and eat dog food. These are not normal things. And if you don't see the departure from normalcy, there's a problem there as well. If you're coddling your children that want to be cats and eat from the cat dish and telling them that that's perfectly okay, you've created a future problem child. I'm not a psychologist, and I'm not telling you this from that point of view. I'm telling you from common sense. These children are not the animals that they identify as. And there was a classroom, and I can't remember what state it was, I want to say it's someplace in the Midwest, where this girl decided to identify as a cat and demanded a cat bowl in the room with the other students. You think this is fair to people that are normal and want to make and are there for an education? These are things that you used to read about in fiction and found it hard to believe. And now it's in mainstream TV. The media. They're promoting this stuff. Turn on your TV and, let's hark back to a time where we had TV shows like the Andy Griffith Show and Leave It to Beaver. Father Knows Best. Kukla, Fran, and Ollie. These shows all had a moral compass and a lesson to be learned from each episode. That is a thing of the past now. You turn on today's children TV, number one is violence. Number two is making the children question what gender they want to be. And number three, subliminal messages abound in these shows. Even the sitcoms for adults have subliminal messages in them and amoral activity going on that they want to make mainstream normal. Just think about commercials. All the commercials have a gay person in them, a mixed couple, mixed race couple, or some kind of a, message that is subliminally given to you to say this is mainstream media, and why we have to assign letter after letter after letter to their behavior and have to accept their pronouns and the letters. It started out as LBGTQ, and now it's XYZ, and whatever they're adding to it. I don't have to learn that, and I don't want to learn that, and I don't see any relevance to adding these letters to anything. You are who you are. Be who you are. And if these are things that you like to do, that's your business. Don't make the person next to you have to accept what you feel is okay for you. Some of us don't want to know it. We've turned our back on God. We've gotten away from religion. And I'm not a great big fan of organized religions and some of the things that they propone. And I'm not telling anybody that you have to go to church X amount of days a week or any of that, because God is with us all. God is in our heart. Jesus is with us. And we have guardian angels all around. If you choose to stop long enough to listen, they will whisper in your ear what's right and what's wrong. It's not for me or any other human being to make sure that you know what's right and wrong. That comes from your basic education, your family upbringing, and you were introduced to a church to learn some things. What you take away from that and how you spend the rest of your life with that is entirely up to you. I'm not telling you that any of these things we just talked about is wrong or you're wrong for doing it or anything else. I'm just saying live your life as you wish to live it and don't make anybody else have to feel bad or feel good about the way you live your life. And it's the same thing with these student protesters that are out there now. They're out there screaming and hollering, river to the sea, which is calling for the destruction of the Jewish state. Why do we have to hear that? That's not our war. It's not our business. And it certainly is no place in the college education category for you to be out there. It brings me back to mind of the Vietnam protest back in the day that I had to watch. And it blew up when soldiers had to kill somebody at Kent State, which was totally wrong in itself. But this is what these protests lead to. They are not peaceful protests. They are threatening protests that are calling for harm on a religious sect of people for their beliefs, and that's wrong. And by the way, you can be arrested for threatening the life of another. It's the law. Why are these people not being reined in? So once more, we have a day of news that is being propagated by 2 points of interest. One is the pro-Palestinian riots that are taking place on college campuses by ignorant young individuals covering their face and covering their heads with Yasser Arafat's leftover clothing. Come on. This can be stopped in 10 minutes. And yet you have the Speaker of the House show up at Columbia University, and he's all over the news this morning talking about how, it was a threatening riot. Well, you said it. Why didn't you order it stopped? Why is the school allowing this to happen? Why is the police department allowing this to happen? Because it's quasi-public property and they can't go in unless they're invited in? They're threatening the lives of Jewish students. They're threatening the lives and livelihoods of an entire country. And they're being driven by Hezbollah and funded by Hezbollah. These are radical terrorist groups. Deal with them. If you have a backbone, Joe Biden, you will put an end to it today. Unless they put the word pause in your already written speech by somebody else that fouls you up. Did you hear that? He's given a speech and we want 4 more years. Pause. Because it was written on the teleprompter. They telling him to stop for a minute. Pause in his speech. He reads it along with the speech. Step to the left. He's done that before because it's on the teleprompter. So if he could put those words together, go out and put a stop to what's going on in our universities across the nation and cut off any funding to those schools that are condoning it immediately, you'll be surprised how fast it'll stop if you cut their funding. These people that run these universities are no darn better than the professors that are in there indoctrinating your children into bad things and wrong information. Maybe they're grooming them all to go to work for CNN. That is the house of wrong information. This fertility rate problem that they're having is we don't have men anymore. This is why if we have to go back to the draft, if we do get hauled into a war, we're in some serious trouble because these guys are not prepared to be soldiers, airmen, or anything else other than working a cell phone to text stupid, threatening messages to other people. Maybe we could take our cell phones and threaten all our enemies with a text. Maybe Joe could haul off and just give him a dirty look and make him stop. I mean, this is how ridiculous this country has become. It's not a good situation. It's financially, I saw the futures of the stock market were down today, not dramatically, but they're going to go to the opening bell with futures a little lower than they anticipated them being. And our economy is in the toilet. We have a Congress and a Senate that has authorized spending more than we have, continue to do so, and leaves us in a bad situation and weakens the dollar across the world's platforms. And I don't know a way out of this. And everyone thinks that Powell and Grandma Yellen are going to come out with this big plan of lowering the interest rates and it'll fix everything. It will make it worse. They cannot do that right now. I don't know where we're going to come up with the dollars to pay this $96 billion aid bill that they just threw through the government. I don't know where we're going to come up with the $7 billion that he wants to put into the new Green Deal. It is mind-boggling when you come to think of the fact that this is all taking place. And it's taking place in front of you, and they're telling you about it. It's unbelievable. It really, really is. And, and then we have the green people running around causing all kinds of nonsense over climate change. We talked about that yesterday. They're upseeding clouds and then telling you that it rains too much. And that's CNN. And then you have AOC that's stomping around wanting more for the Palestinians and wanting more done for green energy. And I found out what AOC stands for. Agent of Chaos. That's her new villain name when we do the Batman series that's coming, where we name the villains that are sitting in and playing the part of that. She'll be the Agent of Chaos. And obviously, Nancy Pelosi will be Poison Ivy. There's no doubt in my mind about that. And if you ever had a doubt that she was involved in engineering the January 6th fake insurrection, she was up to her neck in it. And so was the FBI, who infiltrated and helped it along. And so was some of the Capitol Police. And that's made evident and brought out by the last Capitol Chief of Police that had to resign because of what happened. The man who called for the National Guard time after time after time again, and Pelosi's minions said, "Oh, we'll get back to you." They knew what was coming, and they knew that they engineered what was coming. And now they have tied up the only candidate that's running against a moron that, can't read a teleprompter without messing up on a daily basis. And they tie him up in court. And now, they're going to continue to push this January 6th thing and blame Trump for all of this, when they have on tape, the tapes have been released. Oh, and that's all Tucker Carlson's fault, that he put those tapes out there. Well, God, we need to know what really happened instead of covering it up. How many years ago was it when John F. Kennedy was killed? And it's just coming out now about the behind-the-scenes cover-ups? And his own relative will tell you, if you take the time to listen to RFK Jr.'s speeches, he'll fill you in on exactly what happened to his uncle and his father. And then you have Trump tied up in these courts, these kangaroo courts. The one in New York is a total joke. There's no way anyone could get a fair trial as a Republican or a presidential candidate in the city of New York, because it's an entire bastion of blue morons. They're not going to do anything for the red side, period, except throw a wrench into the election, which is dyed-in-the-wool election interference, and nobody gives a darn. How these people can get away with this and get away with it and get away with it is unbelievable. If you wrote a book about this, people would say, I don't believe that. But here we are watching it in real time. It's a travesty what's taking place. And it's almost a sideshow of comedy if you did write a book, it would have to be labeled comedy. Because it's unbelievable the things that they come out of their mouths. And then the media parrots it. And the worst of them all is MSNBC with Rachel Maddow. They want to talk about Trump's hair, about his skin color, about his family. Nothing out of their mouths come, well, you know, he accomplished this and he accomplished that. It's always about a personal attack on a man that does not deserve that. Does he say stupid things? Absolutely. Does he make comments that could come back and bite him? Absolutely. Does Joe Biden do this on a daily basis? Absolutely. Is Joe Biden really a crime family? Part of a crime family? We know now, but they're not going to do anything about it. But yet Donald Trump is in court here, court there, and court here, and cannot campaign as he should be out doing because they're afraid he may win. So they have to stop Trump at all cost. And that words came from Letitia James, who ran for her office on that aspect. Never forget that. And so did every other prosecutor from Georgia to Maine run on that fact. We have to get Trump. And you want to hear poison spilled out every day, just turn on The View. Oh my God, how the FCC lets these people get away with the lies and the misnomers that they put out on a daily basis is crazy. But that's our media. You cannot trust any of them. Fox maybe will tell the truth more than any of the other platforms. I happen to like several of the people that speak on Fox. I think Maria Bartiromo is probably one of the best. I like Larry Kudlow. He'll tell you the truth. And Dagan McDowell is very open and upfront about the news and how to take it. But we really don't have real journalists anymore on the TV screen. We don't have real journalists at the Times. I mean, it's a pretty sad state of affairs. But if you think about it, we don't. They make things up, and then when they have to retract anything, it's so far back on page 32 in a column about an inch long, their retraction, so you don't see it. It's very, very hard to discern what's really happening so you can prepare your life and your family for what's coming, because it's covered up until it hits. And this is why I tell you all the time, get prepared. Be prepared. Tell your family of a meeting place to where you can get together and survive what's coming. Because I'm worried. I don't want anyone to live in fear of what's coming, but you have to be cognizant that it could happen, and you have to be prepared for it. And you have to pray every day that it doesn't happen. Enough of that. So, as I said, we're going to head downtown to Bristol, Tennessee, Virginia at some point today, probably have a lunch down there and then do some filming. Kaiser and I will be out again for our downtown walk, and hopefully bring you some fun things for this afternoon's broadcast, and I will get it out to you, if not by this afternoon, late evening for tomorrow morning. And we'll be back here on the Kaiser Report with all the news that's fit to talk about or to plod through and tell you the truth about tomorrow morning as normal. And always remember that at the Kaiser Report, we love you here. We love your support and your understanding. And these are hard times right now, but we're going to get through them and find that place in the woods and reflect and pray and listen for the angels to speak to you. There are angels and demons, and they are afoot, and they are helpful and hurtful all at the same time. We have to know how to discern who is who. And the only way to do that is to keep your ear open. Listen to the breeze. The message may be in a breeze, but be out in nature, and that's when it'll come to you. And with that, we're going to say it's probably time to move on out of here and wait till tomorrow and to see what the sun up will bring. And tomorrow will be our Friday forecast, and we'll tell you what the weekend will bring, because we'll be out this weekend if the weather cooperates. So until then, I'm going to tell you it's time for me to dance on out of here. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye now.